What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Terrence.
What's up?
And Carrie.
What's up?
Really hope to have Micah back this week, but his child is not cooperating this evening. In his parlance, he's being very extra tonight, as the kids say. So shame we will not have him here. It is, of course, the Tuesday after the 2019 Royal Rumble. We will be talking about this in the back half of the show. We've got a lot of gaming to talk about. We've got 2 weeks worth of news to talk about. Let us get right into it. Me and Terrence are probably going to spend a fair bit of time talking about Anthem. So Carrie, I will cede the floor to you first to talk about just one of the most games I could not be less interested in.
Yep.
If you paid me to be interested in this.
Yep.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, not Kingdom Hearts 3. I started playing from the first one. I haven't played any of these games.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a good
you've
reaction.
Never played any of them, or you haven't
so,
played them since? Okay, I'm sorry.
Kingdom Hearts came out when I was in like middle school, and I didn't have a PS2 until I got to college. So I played through the first one like at a friend's house, basically, and I enjoyed it. It was something where, because I was playing it at a friend's house on their console, sort of like after school on weekends, I was playing it in like spurts and starts, and I was not really spending what I would consider quality time with the game or the story. And then I had a Game Boy Advance, so when they came out with Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance, I played through that. That game's not very good, but I played it. And I played a little bit of 2. I never finished 2. And then I was sort of done with Kingdom Hearts. I think because of the fact that like the main games were coming out on a console that I didn't own, and the spin-offs were coming out on like PSP and DS and all these other things. And I had some of those things, but because of the fact that I didn't ever play through Kingdom Hearts 2, I was just sort of like, fuck it at that point. And ever since then, I've been sort of stubborn about Kingdom Hearts. I was just like, no, I'm not going to play it. Fuck it, whatever. And all of my friends are like, Harry, you like RPGs and you really like Disney. You'd probably really enjoy Kingdom Hearts if you gave it another chance. And I've always just sort of been like, that's bullshit. But it turns out it's not bullshit, and they're correct. I got the Story So Far collection, which is all of the games. So it's like 9 games. It's the 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8 collections, all for PS4. And I think the fact that like it's all together on 2 discs makes it a lot easier to just sit down and play. So I'm like halfway through the first game, and I figure by the time I get through all of this bullshit, it'll be August, and Kingdom Hearts 3 will be on sale at that point. So
God damn. Well,
I mean,
that is a good strategy.
I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm finally able to like give it the chance that I wasn't really able to give it back when these games were coming out. I think another large part of the issue with me was that like a lot of the kids that I knew who were like real into Kingdom Hearts were not people who I was hanging out with on the regular in school. So now I have a lot of normal, well-adjusted, socially acceptable friends who are very into Kingdom Hearts, and I finally sort of got the nudge with 3 coming out to actually give it a chance. So,
wow.
And you know what? I'm not going to play Chain of Memories again because fuck that. But I have to sort of keep reminding myself that the original Kingdom Hearts, like, it is a game that came out in 2002. It is very much a 2002 PlayStation 2 action RPG game. It feels very dated, but sort of despite that, I'm having a good time. So
That's just one of those games that I just don't understand.
It came out. I looked it up. It came out in March 28th of 2002. I literally just turned 21, and you said you played it in middle school.
I was 12, buddy. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
You forget Carrie, the literal fetus of the Nerpocalypse Network.
I actually played and finished the first 2, and then what the fuck ever. I don't care about that.
I can't believe
didn't give a shit.
I'm
don't
shocked
ask me
to learn
why
that you played through the first 2 Kingdom Hearts.
I don't know why. Like, I think I played the first one and I actually liked the combat because it's an RPG, but it's like an action.
It's an action RPG. Yeah.
So I was digging it, and then I played the second one, and then everybody's waiting for 3. I'm like, I forgot 3 came out yesterday or today.
As Carrie and I discussed on Sunday, I got to Cerberus, and I was like, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah.
in Kingdom Hearts 1. I don't
Cerberus is a shit, dude. Like, that ain't fun. Olympus Coliseum is not fun. But like, I got through it, and I told some of my buddies who are like, lifelong Kingdom Hearts fans that I had gotten past Cerberus, and they're like, cool, it's all smooth sailing from here. Everything after Cerberus is better than everything that's before Cerberus.
See, that's like TV shows where people's like the first 4 episodes suck, but once you get past the first 4 episodes,
like, nah, I don't want to watch the first 4 episodes.
No, and the thing is, that's fair. I would say the first 4 hours of the first Kingdom Hearts game, like, it feels like you're running through mud. Like, it's so slow, and there's all of these cutscenes, and like, you don't really know what's going on, and you're not at a high level that like the combat's any good yet. And then like it clicks sort of all at once, and then it's smooth sailing from there. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts, I'll catch up eventually. We'll see.
So
showing up 15 years late with Starbucks to fucking Kingdom Hearts fandom. How was Anthem?
Well, let's talk about the Anthem VIP demo. It was this past weekend. There's a lot to say about it, because there's, as I've been telling everyone that I've talked to, the game was fucking great when it worked, because there was a lot of points during the weekend where it did not work very well.
The majority of it.
Fair. I mean, I had continuing problems all weekend. Let's talk about the shit first, then we'll talk about the game, which I think we were pretty positive on. Look, I understand when you are releasing this stuff before the game comes out, and it's an online game, and I'm expecting a level of polish not to be there. I'm expecting some bugs. I'm expecting some technical issues. Here's my issue. I know we say the terms beta and demo are essentially interchangeable nowadays, but to me, when you call something a demo, that implies a level of polish and a level of stability that doesn't necessarily need to be present when you're calling something a beta.
Yeah.
I think if they had called it a beta this past weekend, which it was for all intents and purposes a beta, they could have probably gotten away with that. But because they called it a demo, and because you couldn't connect online errors, because you had the infinite loading screen problem that I was plagued with constantly, because you had a lot of some of the performance stuttering issues and stuff like that in the game, they're catching a wrath of shit for that. And I think it's deservedly so, because you mischaracterized what people were playing. And I think they should have been more upfront about what it was too, because the problem is this build that we played is a 4-month-old build. According to EA's, according to what BioWare said throughout the weekend as they updated people on the progress of technical issues, a lot of these issues that we're having in this demo, in the current build that they have, the release build, those problems don't exist. And I'm just like, well, that's cool. So why didn't you give us a build where the problems didn't exist, so that people aren't, shitting on your game? I mean, you need this game to be awesome. This was not a good way to put your front foot forward for folks the first time that you're letting a large swath of people get their hands on this thing. So I think that they did a terrible job characterizing what people are going to play, and they're deserving the criticism they get for that. Now, that being said, when the game worked, I came away really impressed this weekend. Terrence, I've briefly talked about it in the alpha, and I'm going to expand on my thoughts, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the gameplay that you guys experienced.
Well, before I get to the gameplay, I do want to comment on the terrible aspects of it, and how I was not necessarily able to get around it, but I actually played quite a bit. I may have played more than you.
That's possible. I basically did everything that you could do in the demo once, with a bit of free play thrown in. So.
Yeah, okay, I did around the same. What I found with that infinite screen loop, like, it's coming, so you just turn the game off and just
just play around it. I did the same.
And it's like, hey, okay, you were previously in a expedition that you want to jump back in. I'm like, well, I never jumped into that bitch in the first place, but okay, fine. But so that was how I got around that. Once But now to the actual gameplay. Look, I didn't give a shit about this game. Like I saw it. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of dope. And then I was like, oh, it's EA. I'm like, oh, I don't trust EA at all. Like, period.
I think that's fair.
I don't,
honestly. So,
you had given me a link to actually get into it, and this is before I even got to the actual game. You gave me a link to get into it, and I had an old EA account linked to my PlayStation 4 account somehow. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but they don't give you an easy way to transfer it to a new account. So I never was able to do so. I didn't even know that I had an old account, because when you're doing the demo, they're like, they don't even tell you what account is linked to it during that demo. So I was like, I don't know. I can't get in there telling me I don't have access, but I actually do. It's telling me I have access online, but it wouldn't let me get into the game. So I had to download an old EA game because I had no EA games on my system. Period. Like I downloaded like FIFA 2018 or something. No, at first I downloaded FIFA 19, and then when I went to see what account I had linked, it was like server errors not working, error servers down. I'm like, nigga, what? I'm not even trying to play online. So then I had to download FIFA 2018, and that gave me, I'm like, oh, so it's an old account. So I went to EA and I'm like, can I transfer this? And they were like, you got to put in a ticket and all this other bullshit. I'm like, I'm not doing all of that. So somehow I figured out my old password from my old email address and got it. Anyway, I got it all working. But that's another reason, fuck EA, because it shouldn't be that goddamn difficult for all that nonsense to happen.
Really shouldn't.
Yeah, it took me like an hour. I'm like, but I actually wanted to play the game to see how, because I was actually watching gameplay footage of it last week, and I'm like, this looks like it's kind of fun. Like actual gameplay of it, I'm like, this looks kind of dope. Once I actually got into the game, yo, that's just really fucking fun, yo. Like, it's super fun. Like I think the most I played was like 2 hours straight. It's just like you're Iron Man. You're just flying around, like the demo that they showed in 2016 or 2015, where they like jump off a cliff and then they start flying. They dive into the water and come out the water like it was nothing. Like you can literally do that. You can legitimately do that. That's not bullshit. It's something that you can do, and like that's fun. It just is. Like the combat is really it's. There's a lot of weight to it. Like when I told you, I was talking to you for a little bit. It's people are actually comparing it to Warframe. It feels a little like Warframe. Warframe, there's like no weight to the character.
I must say, Warframe is very fast paced.
It's super fast paced. Yeah. It's like the characters feel like they weigh 1 pound. They're like flipping all over the place. Like all of the what are they called? The javelins, they have weight to them. Like they feel like they have weight. The guns have weight to them. The world is very pretty. It's a very pretty game. Customization, that's where it got me. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, well, so that's what's funny. So everyone and their mother went into this game comparing it to Destiny. Yeah, and I was in that group as well. Once you could, because I told you guys in the alpha they didn't have any of the customizations or the inventory system or anything like that. Once I got my hands on that part of it, I'm like, this isn't Destiny. This is Diablo.
Yeah,
with guns.
It is. That's exactly because you collect loot, you collect different levels of loot and all kind of crap. I'm like, and then I can customize my character.
Right.
I can customize my javelin.
It's very because like Carrie, you get tons of the same like style of loot, but instead of like in Destiny, when you get a gun, there's like 2 slots for perks, and the first slot could be one of 7 perks, for the weapon, and the second slot could be one of 6 different perks. In Anthem, you get like each weapon drops at different rarities, and the difference between the rarities is, for the higher the rarity, the more perks it has. But the perks can be anything. So it's very contingent on making a build. It's an RPG. It is a straight up RPG where you're trying to make builds for each javelin. So like if you want a support build, you want to try to find weapons and gear that is going to help accentuate that and accentuate those abilities and accentuate those aspects of your javelin. And that's very much.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
In a game like this, yeah.
I'm still not going to play it.
Like the main javelin I picked was basically like the like the Stormbringer, like the one that can float infinitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I made him like a combo build. So it freeze everything and just light everything on fire. And it was just constant combos. So my super meter, whatever you want to call it, was constantly full. And I was just wreaking havoc on the battlefield. Like, and that's just a little bit. Like, I can only imagine once the full game comes out, what you'll be able to do with the build. And again, you can customize the actual look of it, like color wise. I mean, they're going to have a whole bunch of different like leg types and shit like that. But like, you can't customize your shit in Destiny. It's like, okay, you get this
even
color.
Materials. It's not like, hey, you can make this whatever color. Like, hey, you can make this whatever material you want to.
Yeah, you can make it plastic if you want. You can make it metallic. You can make it glossy metallic. Like, that's what got me. But I'm like, it's EA, and I don't like EA.
But everything's free. Like all the game content's gonna be free. They've already
now.
Well, you can't just go back on that. Like there will be pay like the stuff. The thing they said that you can pay that you're gonna be able to pay for are going to be customizations, right?
Yeah, I get that. I still don't believe that they're gonna. I don't trust them niggas. I'm sorry. Like
I get that.
And BioWare has made a very, very good game.
They have,
but they're under EA.
But you know what?
Is the devil.
I mean, that's true. But the other thing about this game is that despite the fact that it is a BioWare game, it is not letting me fuck any aliens.
That you know of. Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know.
They said there's not going to be any romance.
We'll see. Maybe some
if they add romance, then at that point, I might be into it.
It's funny you talk about the combo nature of the gameplay. It not forces you, but it encourages you to play as a team more so than other games than I've seen. So what happened is, like, so me and my buddy Nixon were running the Stronghold in there, right? And the Stronghold is kind of like it's a raid, right? It's not even a raid. It's more like a dungeon, basically. Yeah. And the end boss is this giant spider, and when you blast down her health, and she would summon a bunch of ads to come out. So the cool thing with the Storm or with the Interceptor, which is the one that I was using, is they have like a constant melee ability. Like it has a no cooldown melee attack that they can use. Okay. And the cool thing with them is that melee attack is a detonator. But when you detonate someone, the Interceptor becomes imbued with the element that they were primed with, and that element gets added to your attack. So when these ads would appear, my buddy who was a Storm would freeze them. And then when I would knife them, I would get ice to my attack. And then so everyone that I would then knife would get frozen as I'm like going around basically. And then that would let him call down like a lightning strike to combo off of that as well. We were just like clearing out entire trash mobs in like 2 seconds doing this combo. And that shit was really fun. Like being able to tweak those builds and play with your support abilities and because we were on comms and we were sitting there talking. I was like, all right, I marked him, marked the boss that he'll take 30% extra damage, and then Nixon would do his ultimate and like deal. We would basically like take off the entire segment of the boss's health bar to make her retreat again, essentially. And just being able to figure that out and do that shit on the fly was just a lot of fucking fun and really encouraged me not only to want to play with other people, which the game encouraged you to do, but even like to get on comms so that you can like continue to do that, because that's a really important part of the game. You get more XP when you're doing combos and stuff like that. So I had a blast playing, just like you did, Terrence. The free play, like I said, the world events were the same kind of shit that you would expect to see with like public events in Destiny. Yeah. They felt a little more varied. I'm sure that they'll feel stale when you've done them for a little while.
No, they felt stale to me. Like,
right off the bat,
like I was like, okay, this is the same. All right. Basically, it's just collect these little whatevers and then take them to this thing.
Yeah.
And then you get a loot box. I'm like, well, that's whatever. But it's look, like the gameplay is what got me. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm still not 100% sure I'm going to purchase it because it's fucking like I just don't trust them to not fuck it up.
I am worried about the story part of the game a little bit, just because apparently from what they said, most of the story is going to be told through Fort Tarsus. And I think that mechanic, at least in the demo, was a little awkward.
I don't like Fort Tarsus.
Yeah, it's like I'll have to see what it's like in the final game. Well, they said apparently in the final game, like you can move through it faster and it's not quite as cumbersome as it was in this. The other thing that was noticeably absent, and apparently that's going to be in the final game, but they just couldn't put in the demo. It really sucks when you are in with friends and you leave a mission, because Fort Tarsus is something that you experience singularly. It's not like the tower in Destiny where you can,
you're basically in your own Fort Tarsus.
Correct. And that sucks because when you leave a mission, that's where you go back generally. So not having that social space was very obvious. And it made you kind of realize like how nice the tower is in Destiny, even though you kind of take it for granted. Just having that hub that you can go to cool down between missions, to coordinate together, is nice to have. They are adding a social space in the main release when that comes out, so that will be there hopefully, and it'll have a forge in it, so you can still customize your javelin, do all that stuff. But I didn't realize how much I would miss that, and I really did. So I'm glad that they're putting that in there. I could not be more excited for this game. I'm curious to hear Micah's thoughts on it. I really am, because I haven't talked to him about it.
I don't even know how much he got to play.
Yeah, I don't know either too. That's
if he got to play at all.
The open
He's got
demo,
a newborn. He ain't playing video games.
He tried and he couldn't get it. And he was like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
The last time I talked.
So the open demo is this coming weekend. Apparently, if you were in the VIP demo, and you play the open demo, all 4 javelins will be unlocked for you.
Yeah, I wanted to try like the combat, the nimble joint that does. Which
Interceptor was fun, man. Interceptor was
that's
fun.
the one I wanted to use next.
So it was a good time. I'm really looking forward to Anthem. And
it comes out next month, right?
Yeah, it's 3 weeks away, just about. So if you can get past your EA distrust,
no,
be there with us as
probably
well.
not. Honestly.
So a bit of housekeeping before we move on. Don't forget to go to youtube.com/densepixels, click the red subscribe button, and jam the bell icon. That way you never miss a new episode when we post this podcast in video form. I'm sure I'll be streaming Anthem when the game comes out as well. So that'll be on youtube.com/densepixels. Check that out while you get there. If you're not a premium member, go to densepixels.com/premium. Sign up today for just $5 a month or $50 for the entire year to get access to our premium slate of shows, which includes the Look Forward Political Podcast, the Men with the Golden Tongues, the Area of Grievances, and No Time to Bleed. I know right now for Men with the Golden Tongues, we have our survey up where we're trying to rank the Bond villains before we do our Bond villain episode. So for more information on that, go to, I think it's, nerdpocalypse.com/fans. And I'll probably post something there sometime this week again as well. And then, of course, no matter what podcatching app you use, make sure you subscribe to not only our show, but also the Nerdpocalypse, Black on Black Cinema, and Coming Distractions as well. 2 weeks worth of new releases this week. No particular order. Kingdom Hearts 3 released this week on PS4 and Xbox One. Resident Evil 2.
I have Resident Evil 2.
It's a great. Have you gotten to play it much?
Yeah, I put a
lot of people are already calling this their game of the year.
What I tell you 2 weeks ago?
I still think that's full of shit.
That one shot, like, it's going to be in the running. I guarantee it's going to be.
Oh, I mean, that's fine.
It may not be game of the year.
I guess it's a little January. Weird to sort of consider like a remake.
Yeah, but it's not just a remake. Like it's legit.
It's a remaster, a remake.
It's a different game.
Yeah, well,
it completely is. I'm telling you. I've got about 3 hours into it. It's the one problem that I have with the game, and this is just a nitpick for myself because I just get frustrated very easily, is it takes way too many fucking bullets to take these motherfuckers down.
You can't kill everything, Terrence. You can't kill everything.
You can't kill
everything. You just gotta run away.
No, and trust me, I've learned that. But the thing is, they have critical shots, right? They have critical headshots. With one shot, boom, their head will fucking blow up. Like they're like random as fuck. Like it just okay. I took his head off, but I noticed like if it sounds retarded, but like if I shoot him in the left cheek, their head blows up. Like I did it like 3 times in a row, and then I tried it again, and then it didn't work, and then I had to I shot one thing like 9 times in the head. It was lying on the ground, and it was still chasing me. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, yo? What kind of random ass shit is this? But aside from that, yo, it's kind of amazing. Like it made me jump a couple times, and it's not really ezy to do. That son of a bitch,
the tyrant,
yo, that motherfucker, yo.
I've been seeing a lot of footage of him just showing up at the door like, "What's up, bitch?"
Exactly. Like you can hear him. You'll hear him like walking around the fucking the police station, and you're like, okay, he's on my left, okay. and you're walking around. Is he downstairs? Is he upstairs? I don't know where he's at. And all of a sudden, you open the door, and there he's standing there, like, "What's up, nigga?" Like, then you got to turn around and run, and he will chase you around the whole fucking place.
I can't remember what
Like,
review
yo,
I read,
leave
but
me
they said somebody shit their pants when they realized that he could go into the main hall, which used to be like
it's supposed
a
to be
very
a safe
safe area. Yeah, in the main in the.
And he's like, "Nah,
original
fuck you." And I'm yo, it's pretty nerve wracking. Like when you're trying to accomplish something, like you're in a room. Luckily, they do like the whole Metroid thing where you open up doors and like you can make this, and it's basically shortcuts. Luckily, there's that in the game, because if you had to run around that bitch and there were no shortcuts, he will literally chase you out of a room that you need to be in to get something done. You got to run away because you can't take him out. Run away, run downstairs, run around the whole fucking thing to get back to the same room. I'm like, yo, I hate this nigga. Can I please take his head off? And you can't. And it's fucked up. But it makes the game even better. Like it's just, you just hear him just stomping just through the whole
So
it's great. But the game, man, I'm about 3.5 hours into it with Leon's section, and then I got to run through it again. And there's like an A, B, and then all this other shit. So I'm going to be playing that for quite some time. But yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. Besides 10 shots to the head to kill one fucking zombie. Fuck that dumb shit.
So Mike
breaks the rules of zombies.
Mike is, I'm sure, even more excited because Senran Kagura Burst RE:Newell came out for PS4
exactly
this week. Genesis Alpha 1 released on Xbox One and PS4. Song of Memories released on PS4. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy released on Nintendo Switch. Life is Strange 2 Episode 2 released on PS4 and Xbox One. Realm Royale on PS4 and Xbox One.
I played that for 5 minutes and was like, no.
Yeah, just another battle royale, I'm sure. Steamroll on Xbox One. 8-Bit Hordes on Xbox One and PS4. Wargroove on Xbox One, Switch, and PC, which does have cross-play, apparently.
I heard Wargroove is pretty fun.
That's what I heard as well. I don't know
like
much about it.
It's like an Advanced Wars style, like tactical RPG. I think I might be completely wrong.
I think you are. I think you are actually quite on base.
Okay.
With this, and then since February is right around the corner, Xbox announced their Games with Gold for the month. For the entire month of February, you can get Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon for free on Xbox One. From February 16th to March 15th, you can get the underwhelming Super Bomberman R for free on Xbox One. From February 1st through 15th, you can get Assassin's Creed Rogue on the Xbox 360, which of course is backwards compatible. And from the 16th to the 28th, you can get Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy for the original Xbox. But again, it will work on the Xbox One as well. And then a couple release date announcements. The Division 2 private beta begins on February the 7th. And the second season of DLC has been announced for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Videl and Jiren are the first. I'm super
excited for Videl, and I cannot believe the disrespect that some people in the Facebook group decided to show her during that announcement. People were like, "Oh, there are other characters that deserve this over Videl." Fuck you, Videl's the best.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, Videl certainly deserves to be.
Yeah, Videl is Gohan's wife.
Oh,
and Mr. Satan's daughter.
I don't know any of this.
Mr. Satan. I remember him. Okay, I know who that is. Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm already getting this season. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna get just the second season.
Are there any characters that you are particularly hoping for?
I don't know them. I don't know enough about Dragon Ball to know any of the characters that I would hope for. So now,
okay.
I did see Jiren, and I'm like, he looks fun to play.
Yeah, Jiren's pretty cool.
Actually, Videl looks really fun. Plus,
Videl is cool because like they're leaning real hard into like the whole great Saiyaman sort of.
She's essentially Android. Who's the chick?
18.
She feels like she's gonna play like her because she has Android 17.
Yeah.
As basically part of her moveset, and she has a Gohan as part of her moveset. So they seem pretty similar. Jiren, I don't know what the hell to expect with him. He just looks like a counter character.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna get it anyway. It's probably gonna be like $25, $20. 6 characters.
Okay, 6 characters.
Yeah, 6 characters this season. Which
I really hope that they add more of the female Saiyans from the universe survival arc.
Me too.
From yeah. I just like I want my lady Saiyans. I want my large girls.
What was this? What's the one in Super? The chick that fuses.
Oh, I
think
mean, so
everybody wants
there's cauliflower and
Yeah,
kale.
her. That's
Yeah,
what,
I think
what everybody wants.
Yeah, because I think she's the one who. Is it cauliflower or is it kale? One of them is basically like the other universe's version of Broly,
Kefla?
where she's that universe's legendary Super Saiyan, so she goes like extremely beefy, and just like has a berserker mode, and it's fucking awesome. This game needs more women characters. Put Chi-Chi in there.
Cauliflower? Like cauliflower? Really?
Yeah, everything in
Okay,
Dragon
yeah.
Ball is named after a fucking vegetable.
Yeah, everything's like a food pun.
Yeah. So there you go.
Kakarot. Vegeta. I watched that Dragon Ball Super Broly last night.
Yo.
Save
That
that
is super entertaining.
save that
Yeah.
shit for Nerdpocalypse.
Yo.
I'm sorry.
Save that
It just
shit for
was-
Nerdpocalypse.
That movie's super fucking good.
It's entertaining. It's
Yeah.
incredibly entertaining.
If you
Anyway.
say so. Headlines.
You should watch it, Brad.
I'm pretty sure I will not actually.
Anyway, first up, what's going on? EA cancels planned open world Star Wars game. Wait,
Yep.
wasn't Oh no, that's the other people. When isn't some?
Well, no, so this was the one that Visceral
There's
was
a-
making with Amy Hennig, and then they
I
got
thought
rid
that
of
was
Visceral.
like 14 or whatever the fuck.
No, you're
Oh,
talking.
that got
That was
canceled
Lucas.
But that was
ago.
a single player. No, that's
Yeah, that was LucasArts that
damn.
was doing that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so again, for the timeline, for those that don't remember, Visceral Studios with Amy Hennig was working on a single player Star Wars adventure.
yes.
EA got rid of Visceral Studios, took the
Yes.
assets from that game, gave it to the EA Vancouver studio so that they could make an open world Star Wars game. And I guess that is also now done. And
Isn't
Canceled.
there supposed to be a Star Wars game coming out this year? Who-
Yes.
What studio is making that? Isn't that the one that's doing the studio that did
It's Respawn.
yes, Respawn Entertainment that did
well, there's still in development, they said, and it should be releasing. I
They said
think
this year.
They said the
yeah.
end of this by the end of this year. Yeah,
That ain't happening.
I feel like that's not going to work.
You know what?
I'm telling you, I don't trust EA.
EA is I would say by this time next year, EA will have lost the license to Star
Yeah, I was
Wars.
going to ask you guys
Yeah.
about that. Why the fuck is Disney not like stepping in here and being like, listen, you've had this license now for 6 years.
And you've done
In that
nothing.
time-
And they've made
Right, you have made two Battlefront
games.
games, one of which was the most colossal clusterfuck in video games in quite some time.
I think Star Wars fans at large will come to look at the EA Star Wars exclusivity license as perhaps one of the biggest mistakes in franchise history.
Well, but here's the problem though, is that Disney is so in the mindset of just like, we don't feel like dealing with video games, so we're more than happy to just license this shit out and
Right.
not worry about it. That they don't, as long as they're making money, they don't care. And Battlefront 2, for all of its issues,
It made a lot of
was
money.
profitable. Like it made a shit ton of money. And that's the only problem you're gonna have. Now, if I'm Disney and you care about the prestige of that Star Wars license, which it should be one of the most valuable fucking properties in video games,
I
you
mean,
would think.
Ultimately, some of the best games ever made have been Star Wars games.
But like, how would you not be like, all right, EA's fucking up. We yank this shit from them. Hey, Ubisoft, how would you like to make fucking Star Wars games? You think Ubisoft isn't jumping out of their fucking seat?
Like,
to
at
get
what
that
point do you
license?
take some kind of legal action? Because they're fucking up the brand as far as like interactive entertainment goes. Like, they're fucking it up. So if I'm Disney, I'm like, all right, y'all, why do y'all keep canceling shit? What are you doing? This is like the
that's-
third game they've canceled at this point. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, you gotta
at
stop.
least.
No,
I mean,
like,
like,
we gotta
they-
put some kind of like judicial injunction in there. I don't know what.
They
Some
keep
type-
announcing titles and they're like, okay, cool. Like, we have our Battlefront. We know that's going to come out. You know, we've got DICE working on that or whatever. And then they keep announcing these, like, you know, either open world RPGs or just like different genres of games that aren't shooty games. And all of those like keep getting like 6 months into development, 12 months into development, 18 months into development, and then canceled, and the studios get shut down. So I just want to know what the fuck is going on, because I love Star Wars. I want to play Star Wars video games that aren't fucking Battlefront. I'm not going to play Battlefront.
What was
Give
the
me something
last
else.
video game? What was the last game that EA came out that EA produced or whatever, published that wasn't like a game where there was some kind of monetary store to it? Whether it be there was one
Was it Dragon Age
Need for
Inquisition?
Speed, yeah.
I mean, are you counting indie titles and stuff like that they're publishing?
No,
Okay,
because those don't count. Like I'm talking about like a game that they're saying, hey,
Like a
this is going to be like
AAA
a AAA title, and it's going to be a single player AAA title, which I don't even think they do.
Dragon Age.
Going to Dragon Age had
no,
well,
it
I
had
guess
some type, like didn't have that sync. It had multiplayer. It had multiplayer, and you could do some kind. Didn't have like a store for that.
it didn't have multiplayer. I know that they had
No, Dragon Age Inquisition had a multiplayer.
If it did, I
Didn't
never
it?
fucking played it.
I thought it did, not unless they took it out.
I don't think it did. In any case, it's, EA is exclusively in the business of publishing games that can continue to make them money after day of release.
which
Yeah.
I don't.
Which I don't think
I
is
think
inherently a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it's bad.
But I
when
think the
you-
way
when
that
you
they
fuck
are
it up.
going about it is bad.
I mean, I guess A Way Out technically didn't have an extra monetary component to
Yeah,
it.
Dragon Age did have a multiplayer.
Did it?
It had a
All right.
co-op multiplayer section to it. I don't know if there was any kind of like a monetary store or anything like that, but yeah, it had it. A Way Out. Yeah, that was that dude that was like cussing up a storm on stage.
Fuck the Oscars.
And it probably didn't have that because he was like, fuck EA.
And I guess you'd have to go back to Mirror's Edge Catalyst as the last game
Wow.
without like a
Yeah,
microtransaction.
and then that game, and they probably like that was a disappointment, even though it may have been good. I don't know. I haven't played it. But yeah, they don't really do games unless they can make money again afterwards. And the way they go about doing it, I guess their most successful would probably be FIFA.
Oh, undoubtedly, it's their most successful.
FIFA with that whatever the hell mode you play,
Ultimate Team.
How much money do you put into that?
Do I put into it?
Yeah.
No more than $20 a year.
Okay.
So,
Well,
because
I feel like they think that they can't make money off of it once the game is released, so they're just kind of like, whatever.
I mean, that's kind of where they're at right now. Though they want games that they can monetize. Now, again, if you're, I don't inherently have an issue with that if you're keeping it in the realm of cosmetics.
Yeah,
and I don't
not
even have
pay
a
to
problem
win.
with Ultimate Team necessarily either, because they do give you an avenue to earn packs, through playing as well. Slow going is that.
Yeah, that's the thing. They
Right.
the way they do it is like, okay, you can play for this shit, or you can just pay for it. We'll make you take 5 hours to collect whatever you need to get the amount of money so you can unlock this one pack, or you can just pay $1.99.
Right,
Like,
but
I'm
I
not
feel like we're deviating there. Just like the Star Wars thing is just unconscionable. Like I just don't understand why. I understand you want to make money, but you have this license for even if you have a game that doesn't have any it's just a single player game, no microtransactions. If the game is good, if you have Star Wars attached to it, people will buy it.
Yeah.
You'll make a lot of front end sales, and I feel like that when you are a publisher that has the microtransaction business that they have to supplement that, I think it is okay to put out a game that is just a game that will sell really well if it's a good game.
Yeah, not every single one of your games need to have microtransactions, though. Just put out a really, really, like fucking God of War. The game sold very well, no microtransactions, and it won Game of the Year. And everybody played it. Come on, yo. What else do you fucking need?
So
You're one of the biggest goddamn companies in the world as far as video games is concerned. Stop being so fucking greedy. Anyway. Again, this is why I don't trust them niggas. Which is probably why I'm not going to pick up Anthem. Because it's them.
yeah, just wait till me and Mike are fucking hyping it. I'll let you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I might get it like a year later. Next up, Mortal Kombat 11 revealed. Oh, damn. Wow. We have been off for a week.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, that was revealed like a week and a half ago.
It sure is Mortal Kombat.
It is. NetherRealm Studios revealed new details for Mortal Kombat 11 during a live event in LA back on what was that, like the
It was
18th,
two Thursdays ago.
Yeah, 17th. Yeah, so they showed it. They had a bunch of gameplay. They had 7 characters to play during that. They made it a lot slower than the more recent ones is the biggest thing that I noticed. And then actually started looking at it a little bit more, and people that actually got to play it, they said that the game feels more like a Street Fighter game.
Interesting.
Than like the fast-paced Mortal Kombat 9 and X. Footsie is a lot more footsies based. The combos aren't crazy long. It looks like they're going more towards the Injustice model. You still have a block button and everything like that, but like Injustice had combos, but they weren't like Mortal Kombat combos. But even slower than that is what this game is going for.
And it looks like they're adding kind of a variant of the gear system that they had.
Yep.
In Injustice as well.
Yeah, they are. They have 2 different meters instead of like the run meter and the whatever the hell meter they had at the bottom.
The X-ray meter.
Yeah, they have an offensive meter and a defensive meter now that constantly regenerates during the match. So the X-ray moves are a little bit different. You can only pull those off when you have like 15% health left, and you can only do it once in a match.
Oh, like the fatal blow.
Yeah, fatal blow. That's basically took over the X-ray moves. Yeah, they changed it a lot. Some people don't like it. Some people that are like the more fast-paced shit, and some people are like, yeah, I might be able to dig into this. Like I've noticed a lot of people that play Street Fighter are looking close at this. Like, this might
the market is there for it. I mean, Capcom has done nothing if not fuck up Street Fighter 5. Right. So,
I'm curious to see, because I like Mortal Kombat. I'm curious to see how this actually plays once it releases. This comes out like April this year.
Yeah, and apparently one of the new characters, Garrus, they announced, can add or take away time from the match clock. That's one of his abilities as well, which
that's kind of
fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work into the thing as well. They have a new villain in the game called Chronica.
Okay, sure.
So apparently Baraka's coming back, Scarlet's coming back. Shao Kahn is the bonus character.
Ronda Rousey's voicing Sonya Blade now.
Ronda Rousey's voicing Sonya Blade.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah,
I ain't mad about it.
Yeah, so
the game looks really fucking good. I mean,
also apparently there's going to be more details coming out basically by the time this episode drops, because NetherRealms is doing their next live stream on January 30th. So
there you go. And there's
maybe we'll have more to talk about next episode.
There's going to be a beta for this game too, weirdly enough, for a fighting game. So
I think they had a beta for Dragon Ball.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I had like 2.
And and they're doing it for Jump Force. That's actually not as weird as I'm making it sound. So
Jump Force, yeah, I wasn't able to get into the Jump Force beta, and I don't really care. Because
I think the Jump Force beta is prioritized towards Japan for some reason. So
like,
wonder
it was
why
for like 11 a.m. to 12 on like a fucking Sunday morning. What the fuck kind of weird ass time? All right, whatever. Anyway, next up, Nintendo scraps current development on Metroid Prime 4. Hands title off to Retro Studios. Wait, Retro Studios did the original?
Yeah, they did the originals.
Yeah, those games are fucking dope.
So yeah.
Good.
Nintendo released a video of Shinya Takahashi, who's the senior managing executive officer at Nintendo, and it's basically just him being like, hey guys, so we know we haven't talked really at all about Metroid Prime 4 in like 2 years, so let's talk about Metroid Prime 4. Basically, he said the development progress didn't really come up to snuff for what Nintendo wanted. So they are handing off development to Retro, which did the first 3 Metroid Prime titles and also did the more recent Donkey Kong Country titles. They did Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze, both of which, particularly Tropical Freeze, were quite good.
So I found some more information about this story after the fact. So apparently they were doing like a collaborative development with a lot of different studios in Japan, where they were developing it across multiple studios.
Apparently, I had heard the rumor that Bandai Namco was sort of the head developer on
Right.
this.
And apparently that they were fucking up. And it was just not going well. And apparently Retro, knowing this, made like a build or something that were just like, hey guys, look what our idea for Metroid Prime 4
Like,
is.
remember us, nigga?
Right.
Come on.
And fucking and Kensuke Tanabe was like, I like this one, and we're gonna go ahead and do that. So they're literally taking everything that's been done for this game, scrapping it,
Throwing
and starting
it
fresh,
straight
right,
in the trash and starting over with
and
Retro.
starting fresh with Retro, which is wild.
I mean, it is wild to think about because you have to assume
that's
that
a lot of sunk costs that you
I mean,
can't recoup. So.
you have to assume that by the time that they announced this, which was at E3 2017, by the time that they announced this, it had presumably been in development or at least a pre-development process at Nintendo for several months, and then was in active development using whatever collaborative process they were using at Nintendo for the last year and a half. And then for them to go, so we're starting over. It's a big deal, but I'm also like, I really respect the transparency that Nintendo has presented us with this process, for them to be like, hey, you know what? We didn't like where it was going. We have to start over, but we're starting over with Retro and we're excited about it now. So it's going to take a lot longer than we thought, but we're just letting you know what the hell happened. I respect the hell out of that. So,
and I mean, I guess they figured that, you know, they couldn't. I mean, let's be frank. I think that after the last main Metroid game that came out, I'm not counting Samus Returns,
Other M,
which was a fucking dumpster fire.
That was the one
game.
that was from what the hell? Well, I don't remember.
From Team Ninja, the Team Ninja,
yeah.
Metroid game. They can't afford for like if Prime 4 comes out and it's garbage, then Metroid's done. Like, you're never going to see another mainline Metroid.
Another
game.
3D Metroid.
No, it would be going the way of Star Fox.
Mhm.
So I think they know it's important for them to get this right, even though Metroid not a huge seller in the grand scheme of things in the Nintendo catalog.
No.
But so I appreciate the fact that they're getting it right. It really sucks. I was looking forward to Prime 4. I'm arguably looking more forward to it now, knowing that Retro Studios is attached to it, who made the other fucking games. I don't know why they weren't considered for this one.
Yeah, that's strange to me.
I think
in the first place, just
it may have been a
Donkey
situation.
Kong.
Yeah, it was because they were working
understand
on
stuff.
Donkey Kong.
Right.
So I mean, I imagine they felt like they couldn't possibly do. They weren't going to get to another E3 without talking about this, and they probably weren't going to get to another Nintendo Direct without talking about it either. Last year they said they didn't want to, tease the fans over and over again until they were closer to actually completing the game. I mean, again, this was teased with literally just a fucking title card at E3 2017. So, I mean, I'm not a huge Metroid fan. I love the lore. I love Samus as a character. I am not good at Metroid. I'm not good at the 2D games. I'm not good at the 3D games. But I respect the amount of work that goes into polishing the overall Metroid experience. So obviously, my assumption was that Metroid Prime 4 would have been their holiday 2019 big, sort of more mature release. Obviously, that is no longer the case. So we'll have to see what else Nintendo has going on this year.
Yeah, they're tough to read because they don't like to announce stuff until it's a couple months out. So it's like they have a couple games coming out this year. Obviously, the new Animal Crossing, supposedly the new, Gen 8 Pokemon.
Yeah, that's sort of it as far as like mainline Nintendo franchises. A lot of people are sort of expecting a Zelda remake of some sort. A lot of people are pulling for Skyward Sword, which I would be super down for.
Yeah, I'm okay without that.
Well.
So yeah.
Okay. Next up, Quantic Dreams receives funding from Chinese company NetEase, and they're going to be doing multi-platform games.
Yes,
Quantic Dream can suck my dick.
Look,
David
I played
come over
the.
here and kiss my ass personally.
It was the one
I
with the
can't
origami
stand
killer.
him. I can't stand any of those fucking overwrought, heavy-handed, metaphorical bullshit games that he comes out with, trying to make a statement, but he can really only see the world through the lens of a privileged white man, so it comes off like he's just basically toasting a piece of white bread and trying to call it art. No, fuck him.
Terrence, the what killer?
The origami.
Yeah, the origami.
Origami.
That you pronounced that correctly.
I don't even remember. Heavy Rain. Yeah, that was the last one I played. Was Heavy Rain. Jason.
Sean.
So look, apparently Detroit was fine. If a little predictable.
Ham-handed.
Yeah, a little ham-handed, as we've talked about on the show before. Look, if you are a fan of Quantic Dream's games, this is good. If you don't own a PS4, they should be appearing on Xbox One, Switch, and PC now. So good for them. Always good, I guess, when second party studios can kind of venture out on their own and do their own thing. So yeah, we'll see what comes next from them. I'm sure we'll see another game for them in like 6 years, because that's how long it takes to make stuff.
And at that point, I don't think anybody's gonna give a fuck. But hey, who knows? Do they have like a really big audience as far as Quantic Dreams?
No,
they don't. Okay.
I mean, I think Detroit sold fairly well. I don't know figures, but
because it looked good and people probably bought it with like
the production value on Quantic Dreams games
really
is
good.
Spectacular. But clearly, all this guy wants to do is just make shitty movies. So I don't understand why he just takes a fraction of the cost it takes to make a video game and just make a shitty movie instead.
I mean, you could say the same about Hideo Kojima. So
Hideo Kojima should also just make shitty movies.
I agree.
He needs to just like fucking stop touching Mads Mikkelsen's dick long enough to finish a video game.
Speaking of Mads Mikkelsen, you should watch Polar. That movie's fucking crazy.
I heard it was not very good, but
that's subjective. Look, I enjoyed it because there was a lot of violence.
All right.
It's really fucking violent.
Right.
Next up, Metroid Exodus ditches Steam to become an Epic Games Store exclusive.
And Valve is fucking mad about it.
They're big mad about it.
They are big mad. They're literally like stopping in a corner, being like, "That's not fair." Like,
well, fuck you, Valve.
Well, and here's the difference between this and Division 2 is that they had already been taking pre-sales for Metro Exodus on Steam.
Sure. And Steam would have a point in things not being fair if the Epic Store wasn't going to honor those pre-sales.
Well, no, not only
they are.
It's not even that. It's not even like it's not Epic Store's doing it. Deep Silver's saying, "Hey, the people that pre-ordered it will still sell you the game on Steam.
Right.
You'll still get access to the DLC on Steam.
Right.
But if you haven't pre-ordered it yet, you got to come over here." Here's the best part. On Steam, the game was regularly $59.99. On the Epic Store, it's going to be $49.99. Now, I did some number crunching. Even though they're taking a $10 reduction in price, Deep Silver is still going to earn more from every Epic Games Store sale than they were on Steam.
Yeah, that's right, because they give a bigger cut.
Yeah.
A significantly bigger cut.
Well,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do, Gabe? You're gonna fucking stomp your feet in the corner and whine that none of your beloved Steam publishers want to publish exclusively on Steam anymore? This is the kind of shit that's going to make people go to Epic.
Yo, all because of fucking Fortnite.
I'm about to say, much like Fortnite came from fucking nowhere to take the games world by storm. In 2 months, we have two high-profile third-party games that have been like, fuck off Steam. We're going to come over here to the Epic Game Store. And this, like, make no bones about it. The end result of this, and I don't know if it's going to take 6 months, a year, 2 years, but the end result is Steam is going to take that cut from 30% and it's going to be down to fucking 12. You can bet your bottom dollar that shit is going to happen at some point because you cannot lose. Like fucking Epic Game Store sitting here like the Michael fucking Scott Paper Company coming in and undercutting Dunder Mifflin left and right, coming out of nowhere. And fucking David Wallace is like, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
This is fucked up.
So, and again, all because
Oh, because of Fortnite.
Fortnite has makes
Burn it
them
down.
billions of
Fortnite
dollars.
forever.
That's so crazy. One game has
Mhm.
made them like a formidable opponent to Steam.
How
Or
are
it's gonna make them
prices so
switch.
low? Because we have all the money in the world. Because we're rich.
I cannot believe. If you had you told me fucking Fortnite, the
Was going to
offshoot
reshape the
of
entire
the
fucking
how much is
industry.
actual Fortnite? Like the game,
It's
the
free.
tower. No, the tower building Fortnite, the actual game Fortnite.
minimum of $40.
Not the battle royal shit that they just the offshoot of the actual game.
Here's the best part: it's $40. They're talking about making that free to play because they're like, "What the fuck do we
Whatever.
care?"
Like
Right.
we got the money. Whatever. Yo, that's insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's free to play. Wow. Where's Winner Chicken Dinner? Where's that game called? Where Underground?
PUBG?
But, I mean
PUBG.
PUBG. what are they doing? They released it
Nothing.
on PS4 like last month. I don't think anybody bought it.
Nothing.
Jesus Christ. That shit needs to go free to play.
We'll see.
It needs to.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
If they
compete
want to
with
catch up.
Fortnite.
No, you can't.
That's insane.
Fortnite released a far more polished, far more fun version of the battle royale mechanism,
Yeah.
while PUBG was still struggling in fucking Xbox early access.
Yo, that game played
Like-
like trash.
Yeah, that's why people
Even on a
bailed.
Xbox One X. That
Yo,
shit-
the very swift rise and even swifter fall of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is something worth documenting at some
I
point.
think someone's probably going to do that.
I'm gonna
Like,
say I don't
think
even
someone's
know
already
if
done it,
they've
maybe.
fallen though. Honestly,
Is anyone playing it?
I'd have to imagine that people still
PUBG used to be the #1 game on Twitch.
Right.
I
Is
know,
it-
but I'm
is it
saying,
even
like-
within the top 50?
but I'm
I
saying
don't
like
know.
it's fallen from astronomical heights to just being above average in terms.
I don't
of,
even
like,
know if it's above
playability.
average.
I don't even think it's above
I'm
average
telling you.
anymore.
Like check Twitch to see where that
You know what? I'm doing it right now while we're fucking while you're moving on to the next story. I'm gonna check to see.
Yeah, speaking of
where it
Fortnite,
ranks in
Yeah,
viewership.
exactly. Speaking of Fortnite, next up, Fortnite Save the World mode getting rid of blind loot boxes. Whoa, hold on. X-ray llamas. This sentence sounds so stupid. Now
Yeah.
show their content before opening. What the fuck is going on? What?
so the llamas, they're pinatas, they're the loot boxes. So the pinatas in the game, they run 50 V-Bucks, and they're up until now they're luck of the draw, skins, weapons, so on and so forth. X-ray llamas will be the same 50 V-Buck price, and if players don't like what's going to be in that, they don't have to buy it. They can just wait until the next day.
Oh.
So real quick, PUBG is like still top 10 on Twitch, and like as I'm looking right now, it has 20,000 concurrent viewers. Like at this very moment in time. So
That's not bad.
and that's with Kingdom Hearts and Resident Evil kind of clogging up the top of the charts just because they just came out right now. So yeah.
That's interesting. I'm surprised. Well, 20,000. That's still probably that's.
It's just, I mean, it's the same
really
as
good
Overwatch
amount,
is right now. So
I mean, well, Overwatch.
Overwatch is still popular. It's not like
It is. I was
dead
like,
anywhere.
Overwatch is still very good, but like, I don't really count that on Twitch. What's number one? Like,
Oh, I mean, you know,
It's Fortnite.
Fortnite.
is
of
it
course.
Fortnite? So
Yeah.
what's number two? What's that other game? That was always
League of
top?
Legends.
Yeah, that was always number one. I swear, every time I turn on Twitch, League of Legends, I'm like, yo, this shit is boring.
League of Legends sucks. That game sucks. It's not fun to play.
It
Don't play
doesn't look
League.
fun. Like it just doesn't. But
I
don't
played
know anything
League.
about it.
I played League for a hot minute back in 2012. Then I quit because it sucks.
Well, there you go. So yeah, you got like X-ray llamas where you can see what the fuck you're gonna purchase with your hard-earned money, or your
Can we be
parents' money.
done with loot boxes at this point?
Nope.
No, because that's where EA makes all their money.
And Blizzard.
Yeah. Are they still doing that mobile
Diablo?
Diablo?
They're not just gonna scrap it just because a couple fucking fanboys got boo boo face at a con.
But I mean,
Yeah, they're doing it.
Listen, that game, people can throw shit at that game. I'm sure the game is going to be good. You know, it's not Diablo 4. It's not what you wanted. You're still going to fucking play it. Just shut up. Stop.
you're gonna port that to like a console.
If it's successful enough, sure. If it'll work on console. I don't know enough about the game to be able to speak on that. But yeah, listen, I just the reaction for that, and again, I blamed Blizzard for not knowing their audience in that moment. But at the same time, I think
I got a phone, bitch. I don't want to play the game on it.
Was a little overdone at the time. So that is it for headlines. We will do all of our housekeeping now because I know some of you do tune out before we do the wrestle talk. So again, don't forget to go to densepixels.com/Amazon whenever you buy anything on Amazon, big or small. Jeff Bezos doesn't have enough money, so give him as much as you can. But while you're giving Jeff Bezos money, you are giving us money as well, which helps support your favorite video game podcast. So we thank you for those of you who use our Amazon link. Don't forget to join our fan group, densepixels.com/fans. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Just search at DensePixels. Subscribe to the podcast. Go to youtube.com/DensePixels. Subscribe there. Follow us on Twitch. Carrie is very active on her Twitch channel.
I'm streaming.
Carrie.
I'm streaming basically twice a week. I streamed Monday this week. That was like my weeknight stream. Normally I would do like a Tuesday or a Thursday, but since all of my friends are playing Kingdom Hearts, I figured why should I stream to an empty chat room? So I'll be back next week with more Golden Sun. I'm coming up on the end of the first game. I'm actually doing like a 100% run of Golden Sun. So I'm doing like the optional extra boss area right now. So we'll see how that goes. Probably badly.
Terrence, there's Apparition 410. He plays Dragon Ball Fighters on his Twitch channel usually. Yep. I'm Dense Pixels Brad. You can follow me, but I don't usually stream there. I usually stream on densepixels.com or youtube.com/densepixels. So if you want to see me play stuff, that is where you would go for that. So that is all of our video game talk this week. We will transition now into our review of Royal Rumble 2019. And yes, Carrie is staying for the review.
She probably watched more than I did.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I'm going to run through the pre-show really quick because it was relatively inconsequential. Razor of the Authors of Pain had to team with Scott Dawson of the Revival against the tag team champs, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, in a non-title match. They lost. It was completely inconsequential. Rusev lost his United States title to former champion Shinsuke Nakamura after Rusev accidentally knocked Lana off of the apron and she hurt her ankle. Bookmark that in the back of your mind because it would actually become very important later in the night, though we had no idea at the time. And then Buddy Murphy retained the Cruiserweight Championship in a fatal four-way match against Kalisto, Hideo Itami, and Akira Tozawa, which was a decent match as we have come to expect from the Cruiserweights. Let us start with the main card, our first match of the night. Asuka defending and retaining her SmackDown Women's Championship against the man, Becky Lynch.
I like Asuka a lot.
This was a very good match.
I feel like I should explain myself, given that I have typically not stayed for the wrestle talk. I have a lot of friends who are very into pro wrestling, and it's just like I feel like I've absorbed a lot of the culture through osmosis over the last year, and I finally just like embraced that. No, you know what? Wrestling is just anime, and and it's something that I would probably really enjoy. And Asuka is the most anime, and I like her a lot. Awesome. She's got that good hip check.
She does. She screams in Japanese constantly during the match, which is fantastic. It's funny when she has to cut a promo because she does the same thing that a lot of Japanese speakers who don't have a great grasp on English do, which is to speak very slowly and loudly when they talk. But they do a good job of protecting her for that. She gets her point across pretty well without doing that. There was a point in this match, the worst spot of this match that I saw was when Asuka, they were both on the ring apron and Asuka did like a neck breaker.
Yeah, that
almost killed both of them.
I was like, yo, it's a good thing they know how to bump because somebody not trained would have broken their fucking neck.
Now,
like, straight up.
What was super interesting to me is that the finish of the match is that Asuka put Becky into the Asuka lock and then kind of flipped over. So she was kind of like doing a bridging version, which looked very painful.
I've seen that move before. I don't know what it's called though. It is a specific move, but I don't know what it's called.
I've never seen it before that I can recall.
Not in WWE.
Becky Lynch tapped out clean as a whistle. I was a little bit surprised about that. Asuka did need a win. She won the title, of course, in a TLC match which did not require her to pin or submit anybody. So that's always not a very strong way to win the title. So having her with a strong finish is probably the way to go. I was surprised that they did this to Becky Lynch, but again, bookmark this in the back of your head because it may or may not become relevant later tonight. So I was amused as we were watching the next match because Carrie's husband Chris thought Shane McMahon was someone's crazy uncle.
I mean, he looks like someone's crazy uncle. Like he teamed with the Miz against the Bar.
Yes.
And like the Miz, basically my exposure to the Miz at the celebrity softball game during All-Star Week last year was sort of the catalyst that got the ball rolling for me to like gain a lot more interest in pro wrestling in general, because he played in the celebrity softball game and he was a perfect heel in the celebrity softball game as well. So to see him standing next to Shane McMahon, like it literally looked like a young lad and then his fat drunk uncle. Like
it does not help that Shane gets so like beat faced whenever he's wrestling anymore. It's not good.
But he's in surprisingly good shape.
He is in surprisingly good shape.
Fucking big. Like,
it's a large lad.
So the thing that I'll never understand about Shane McMahon matches is that whenever he does anything, the announcers like lose their mind that they're so blown away that Shane McMahon is able to do these crazy things. I'm like, have you not watched wrestling for the last 20 years, guys? Like, where have you been?
He's
like Shane McMahon is a psychopath. He's a psychopath. And again, like this dude literally almost beat the Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. How are you impressed? He's just a wrestler at this point. They did the thing in this where they teased all of Shane's big spots. Like they teased him doing the flying elbow onto the announce table. They teased, or I shouldn't even call it the flying elbow. I call that the waving your hands in the air elbow as you're falling. Because he doesn't do like a smooth elbow. He like waves his arms as he's falling down whenever he does that elbow drop. They teased the coast to coast. You didn't get to see it. He can do that, by the way, Kerry. Like that's his like actual signature move. He can fly across the entire ring and kick somebody in the
face. Not diagonally, like straight, just straight across. But I did forget, and I know we've seen it before, that I did forget that he could actually perform a shooting star press, which is the finish of the match.
Oh yeah, that was good. I was impressed.
He just landed flat on that motherfucker. He was like, boom. Okay, well, that's a real.
Miz and Shane McMahon are your new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. Shout out to Stu because, of course, they celebrated at ringside with the Miz's dad. Stu inquiring, is the Miz's dad now able to defend the tag team titles thanks to the Freebird rule? Possibly. We haven't got an actual ruling on that yet. We will find out. Carry the Freebird rules when you have a stable of 3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
When they win the tag team titles, any combination of the 2 of them can defend them. So, like when the New Day win the tag team titles, any
I
two
do
of
like
them
the
can
New
defend
Day.
it. Yeah.
I like them very much.
They showed it. Well, I mean, we'll talk about them in a little bit because they were in the men's rumble, of course. Ronda Rousey wrestled in arguably the best match that I've seen her in here against Sasha Banks. That includes the Charlotte Flair match at Survivor Series that she was in. Ronda Rousey wins here to retain her Raw Women's Championship. So the thing that I enjoyed the most about Rousey in this match is that she turned up the pro wrestling because she mocked Sasha's like side strut. She, mocked her with the 4 horsemen thing, of course, as we went. Sasha Banks looked like $1 million. They should probably just fucking move her over to SmackDown and let her compete for that title. Honestly, like her and Bayley are probably going to win the women's tag team titles next month. If I had to guess, but I'd rather them put a regular belt on her. Also,
I enjoy watching Ronda Rousey wrestle quite a bit. I know that she's not like a good human person because she's like kind of transphobic and has maybe kind of said some really questionable things about like the Sandy Hook shooting and whatnot. So like in terms of like real life Ronda Rousey, wrestling Ronda Rousey, sure, she's fun to watch. She has like I don't know what it is. Like, she's really smooth in how she executes moves and shit like that.
And it's funny because, like I was telling you, very few people have made the jump from being a regular athlete in such a short amount of time to being a really good at the pro wrestling part of it. And she is very good in the ring. Now, promos could still use a little bit of work.
The promo that I saw, because I didn't watch. I don't think I watched any of this match. Honestly, I don't know what that was doing. But the promo that she cut, I guess it may have been like a couple days ago. It was way better than when she first came in. Like,
well, her problem is
down.
she still like stutters over her words sometimes. Like you never forget that she's someone who's not born of this business.
Yeah. Right.
And even
she cut that smiling shit out.
She did. And like, I don't know if you watched Raw, and we'll talk about Raw a little bit after this because of what the Rumble matches would lead to. Her promo that she had on Raw this week was decent, but it was still like she would get caught up on some of the more, the tougher lines. I'm super happy that they actually had Sasha lose by pinfall, not submission in this match, because it keeps Sasha super strong, so that she just doesn't get tapped out by Rousey just like everybody else. That tells me that they have big plans for her down the road, so they want to keep her credible. But so the thing that I need to know, all of this 4 horsewomen talk, what's it fucking building towards? Because they're really starting to ramp this shit up now. With Rousey throwing it out there, and Banks and Becky throwing that shit out there a lot now too. I mean, if it doesn't lead to a match, then what's the fucking point? But I feel like the other 3 of Rousey's cohorts are still a little bit further behind to be able to have a good match if you're going to do that feud.
Who was 3? Who?
So it's so the Rousey stable is her, Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, and Rena Shafir.
Who are
the other 3 are in NXT, are all in NXT right now. And then of course on the WWE side, it's Banks, it's Charlotte, it's Becky Lynch, and it's Bayley. Are the 4 horsewomen of WWE. But just the fact that they're ramping it up so hard makes me think like they want to build it towards something. But again, the other 3 that are in NXT have to become much better wrestlers before you can kind of hold them in the ring against 4 of the best female wrestlers on the planet right now, honestly. So we shall see. The Women's Royal Rumble was up next. For my money,
this shit was good.
For my money, it was better than the men's. I'm for the second year in a row, I think the women's match was better than the men's Royal Rumble.
I mean, honestly, like the appeal of the women's end of WWE right now is like far greater for me personally than the appeal of the men's end. Like, I know who way more of the women's wrestlers are. Like, I'm looking at the list of the guys who competed in the men's end, and I'm like, I don't know who most of these guys are, but like I know who most of the women are. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really long.
Well, it's funny because like last year was the first one, and they leaned on a lot of nostalgia talent coming in to help fill out the roster a little bit. This year they did not do that at all. Actually, there weren't any nostalgia acts. This year. Instead, they supplemented the women's wrestlers with a couple NXT folks.
There were a handful.
Yeah, you had a couple of the surprise. I have Xia Li to pop the China crowd. Candice LeRae was in the match. Casey Catanzaro.
That's my girl. That's who I'm pulling for now. As soon as I saw her, I was like, I know her. She went to Towson when I was there. Yeah, she's mostly known as an American Ninja Warrior. I guess I hadn't heard that she had signed on to do NXT at all, and I looked it up, and I was like, cool.
Yeah,
that's my girl now. Like, I will stand forever for Casey Catanzaro.
Kairi Sane was in the match. Io Shirai.
I will also stand forever for Kairi Sane.
and Rhea Ripley. Those were your surprises in the match. You had a lot of really fun moments. The women between Naomi and Casey Catanzaro out Kofi'd Kofi this year in terms of the Rumble saves.
Casey had, I would say she had the best one because she got knocked out. She landed flat on her ass, but the rules were your feet had to touch the ground.
Correct.
So she like scooted over, flipped herself into a handstand walked back into the ring and flipped herself back up. And I'm like, I'm very here for this.
Yeah, she also like scurried. She also like kind of tree stumped up the ring post as well.
Yeah.
In order to get back in the ring, which is pretty cool. And then Naomi just jumped from the fucking barricade to the ring steps.
Yeah.
A la Kofi a couple of years ago. But so the best, Terrence, did you watch the Women's Rumble match?
I think I watched more of the Women's Rumble match than to be honest.
So I don't know if you know, Naomi and Mandy Rose have been beefing like hardcore on SmackDown lately.
I don't know who Mandy Rose is.
She is
I really don't watch wrestling.
She's small.
She is. So they've been beefing hardcore. Like Mandy's was trying to drive a wedge in between Naomi and Jimmy Uso just for the hell of it. That's been like the storyline for the past couple of weeks. And she beat Naomi on SmackDown last week. Well, of course, Naomi gets in the match, makes a fucking beeline for her, eliminates her almost right away, and then has to go through all the rigmarole to save herself. Once she almost gets tossed out, as soon as she like goes through all this production of running down the barricade and then jumping over, she's like, "Yeah, I did it." Here comes fucking Mandy Rose to fucking just pull her off the steps and knock her onto the floor. Anyway, just to keep that heat on her as well.
Wait, but she'd already got taken out, right?
She already was taken out, but she still just hung out at ringside and then just fucking knocked her down.
But can the person who's been taken out take somebody?
They
out?
do that shit all the time. You know that.
Oh man, why does that count?
I don't, because there's no rules in the Royal Rumble except 2 people have to hit the floor. I mean, for fuck's sake, Hulk Hogan pulled fucking Sid Justice out of the ring to win the match for Ric Flair the one year, even though he was on the fucking floor because Hogan was mad that he got eliminated because that was a total Hulk Hogan.
That rule is always so stupid to me. Like, okay,
I don't disagree with you. Zelina Vega had one of the more memorable bits in the Rumble. Well, had the memorable entrance.
Yeah, she came out with the Vega mask and the claw from fucking Street Fighter.
But she ends up leaving out of the ring and then hiding underneath of the ring. And like every time someone would get eliminated on that camera side, she would like poke her head out and then like like
a fucking weird gremlin underneath the mat.
And they paid this off by having Hornswoggle also appear under the ring and
another weird gremlin.
Yeah, chase her basically out of the mat. Well, that's where Hornswoggle lives, Carrie.
Okay, well, I don't know these things.
Yeah.
All I know is that there was suddenly a small goblin chasing a woman twice his size.
There was about 10 years ago, and this tells you how far WWE's come. There was once a major angle where they teased that Vince McMahon had an illegitimate son. And they couldn't figure out where to go with it. And so the way they paid it off was for it to be Hornswoggle. And they just kind of paid it off in 2 seconds, and that was it. So what else we have here? So yeah, Alexa Bliss came back. They made her look fucking fierce for the first few minutes that she was in the match. But of course, the major storyline in the match. So Lana comes out at 28, and she's hobbling down to the ring very slowly because her ankle is still wrapped from the attack that she suffered earlier in the night. Well, by the accidental knocking off the apron by Rusev.
Yes.
When Nia Jax comes down at 29, she would attack Lana as she was coming down to the ring because of course she did because Nia Jax, huge fucking heel.
I like Nia Jax a lot.
She has a very interesting arc in this evening.
Yeah, she really fucking did. I was like, okay. Right.
I'm like, oh, we got a huge bitch. I'm here for the huge bitch. Always.
So then, after Carmella comes down at 30 for the last entrant in the match, all of a sudden, crowd starts going fucking wild. Becky Lynch comes down to the aisle, and she's talking to Dave Finlay, pleading with him to let her take Lana's spot in the Rumble match. And Dave Finlay's like, I can't do it. Which, to be fair, Dave Finlay, not an on-screen authority figure. So I don't know why the fuck she was appealing to him and he could make this call. I don't know why like Stephanie McMahon just didn't like come out from the back and be like, go get him. Like that would have been way more effective, I think, if you'd had that happen. But eventually he's like, all right, just go ahead. And so Becky Lynch comes down to the ring. The crowd's losing their fucking mind, as you'd expect. And look at, I just appreciate the long form storytelling of this completely innocuous like injury that Lana suffers earlier in the night that you don't think twice about because it's something that you see in a wrestling match all the time, leading to this very elaborate plan down the road.
Right.
Of course, you get Becky Lynch getting injured by Nia Jax, who, of course, the history there, Carrie, is that before the Survivor Series, which is when Raw faces off against SmackDown, Becky Lynch led an invasion of Raw with all the SmackDown women. And Nia Jax accidentally legit punched her in the face and broke her orbital
Oh no,
bone.
yeah, no. I have a friend where she's like covered in blood and just like still fighting and whatnot. But
that never got resolved. Like that was like, and what they've done is they've made Nia a huge heel based off of that, based on her fucking up.
Was she a face before?
She was a face before. They couldn't help. They could not help but make her into a giant heel because the crowd fucking hated her because it cost them seeing Becky versus Ronda. That was supposed to be the match at Survivor Series. So we never got that paid off. And so you're gonna see it here. Now she injures Becky Lynch's knee. And eventually Nia gets knocked out. It's down to Charlotte and Becky. Charlotte was the odds-on favorite going into the match. And
I like Charlotte a lot too.
She's awesome.
I like Charlotte. She's
fucking awesome.
Fucking bad.
And Becky is apparently getting the greatest Rocky build that I've ever seen from any wrestler ever, because she was like legit like, my knee's fucked up, like, but I'm gonna wrestle. Like they're sitting there about to award the match to Charlotte. She's like, she leaps into the ring and it's like, no, and of course the crowd's losing their fucking mind. And Charlotte Flair should have like fucked that knee up. Like I don't know why she didn't throw the figure 4 on immediately and just fucking cripple her. But Becky survives. She wins the match, wins the Royal Rumble despite not being officially entered in it. And she's going to WrestleMania, probably in the main event, to wrestle, not surprisingly, Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
She made her choice already on Raw, and they had a pretty good promo between one another. And so I'm looking forward to that match. It will be a very interesting time. Natalya was the Iron Woman in the match. She entered at number 1, lasted about 46 minutes.
Was she 1 or 2?
She was 1. Or no, she was 2.
I'm
sorry.
2. Lacey Evans was
number 1. Yeah. So. And Lacey Evans had a good run too. She was out there for about a half an hour before getting eliminated by Charlotte Flair. They made her look pretty strong in her debut match on the WWE roster. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles was next for the WWE title. Daniel Bryan retains here. Ready for this feud to end. This is probably the 4th major match that these two have wrestled against one another. The build was very good to this match. The match itself was pretty bog standard. We've seen this match before between these two guys. The only bizarre thing about this one, the long off television Eric Rowan came down randomly during the match to stand at ringside. Eventually there was a ref bump, and then he would enter the ring, attack AJ Styles, and help Daniel Bryan retain his championship. And I guess Eric Rowan is going to be Daniel Bryan's flannel shirt wearing heavy from now on to help keep that heel persona going for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it. It's just random as shit.
So when did he just become a heel? Because again, I don't watch.
When he won the title from AJ Styles, he cheated to win. He like the ref went down. He straight fucking field goal kicked him in the balls, and then after the match was over, he grabbed like AJ Styles' hands and just started fucking stomping his head basically.
Oh,
and turn the crowd on him that fast. And now he calls himself the new Daniel Bryan. He's really woke Daniel Bryan. On last Tuesday's SmackDown, the Go Home episode, he cut a promo on Vince where he was talking about yelling at Vince about how the baby boomers are the worst generation. And I'm just like, you guys are trying to get me to boo Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
right?
like, but this is right though. No, I actually did watch it. I'm like, I don't see the problem.
Yes, but he's being annoyingly woke. But he much like all good heels, there is an undercurrent of truth into everything that he says. And there's undercurrent of truth. It makes you hate him that much more. You're like, he's right. Why does he have to be so smug when he says it though? What a bastard. So we'll see where he goes from here. I do think that the Bryan Styles feud is officially over at this point. So we'll see where Daniel Bryan transitions to, perhaps on SmackDown tonight as we're recording this. Brock Lesnar was wrestling Finn Balor for the Universal title. Brock Lesnar would retain, but damn if they didn't book this match like $1 million.
This was a good match.
It was a great match.
Actually, watched the match.
By the way, take note. You can make Brock Lesnar's opponents look very good without forcing them to eat 6 F5s to pin them in a match.
Yeah.
Just an FYI, WWE. Because you could argue.
Like, no one's going to believe that Finn Balor's going to take 7 F5.
No, that's true. I'm not disputing that, but you didn't have to do that with Roman Reigns either.
That's true.
Like we get Roman Reigns as a tough boy, and we don't need him to kick out of F5 number 5 to prove that. Like, protect the finish. Don't worry about doing that shit.
He didn't even get one off this match.
No, he did not, because the one that he attempted got reversed into a DDT. Yeah, so that was good. Finn Balor, you can make the argument, controlled the match.
No, he absolutely no. There's no argument. He did.
Yeah.
Once he ran him into the fucking corner, which looked like it really fucking. I was like, yo.
Well, Brock Lesnar always looks like he really hurts himself. Apparently, his Achilles heel is his stomach. All you have to do is punch him very hard.
Diverticulitis is a bitch, man.
That's not how diverticulitis works. As my wife was screaming at the television, that's not how diverticulitis works. Do they know what diverticulitis is? I'm just like, they do, but people don't give a shit. It's wrestling. You just gotta suspend the disbelief.
They don't even know how to pronounce it. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
But Finn Balor looked awesome in this match. If you're a Finn Balor fan, I get he didn't win, and you should be sad about that. But he looked like $1 million.
He tapped out.
He tapped out, but
no. What I'm saying is, like, it wasn't like he got pinned. He had to tap out, and Brock Lesnar was 100 fucking pounds heavy in this motherfucker.
Right, to a Kimura lock, which again, if we're being consistent in storyline, that hold has broken the arm of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So like you can't be mad about that.
Perfectly fine with this match. And again, I don't watch wrestling anymore, but I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, that was a perfectly well booked match. Perfectly fine.
He looked good, and like I said, Brock Lesnar. I mean, they're making the right choice by pairing the Men's Royal Rumble winner with him, because Brock. I think we've seen Brock Lesnar versus the big dude too many times, and I think that the David versus Goliath matchup works way better, and I think he likes it more too. I think he likes me to throw little guys around, but then having the strong match. The main event on the evening was the Men's Royal Rumble match. Not a lot of surprise entrance in this one, but we started off with arguably the most surprising entrance at number 2, which was JEFF, JARRETT, Jeff Jarrett, making the really poor decision to wear his mid-90s ring gear.
Yeah, that was awful.
First of all, like when he went to the short trunks, like that was a way better move. We don't need like the slit, like little hash.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. Like Wolverine got to his fucking costume, fucked it all up. But I was like, okay. First of all, he didn't look all that great.
I mean, he still wrestles. Like
that's what I'm saying. He still wrestles, but I'm like, he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. He still wrestles, but he didn't look all that great. I'm like, the fuck, bro.
I'm just shocked to see him in a WWE ring because the way, I mean, and again, Vince will work with anybody if there's money to be made, but the way that he left was very acrimonious back in the late 90s. And that's that kind of shit like Vince fucking holds a grudge about. Like you're not going to hold the company up for $500,000 and Vince McMahon's going to fucking forget about that shit.
Yeah, well, it was 20 years ago.
I know.
Vince is getting old.
So yeah, Carrie, as the
I've got no context for this.
Yeah, as the story goes on that, Jeff Jarrett's contract was running out, but he was the Intercontinental Champion and he was leaving, but they needed him to drop the belt to China of all people. And he says, I'll do it. But you need to, you're going to pay me $500,000 to go out there and drop this belt on TV.
I mean, do you blame him? To China? I mean, I get China was the 9th one in the world, but I'm like, back in the 90s.
When I was like, first aware of pro wrestling in the 90s, I fucking loved China.
Like, I probably would have been like, yo, okay, I'm leaving, and you want me to drop it to her? Nah, bruh. Like, I'm sorry, no. Then, nah. Fuck no. So I get it.
So here are your surprise entrants. Jeff Jarrett, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and Aleister Black. I was massively disappointed that there was no Velveteen Dream. I thought Velveteen Dream was a shoo-in to be a guest appearance in this Rumble. I was really sad when he wasn't in there. Like legit sad. He didn't even wrestle this weekend. God damn it. So
I'm sure Malcolm was happy about that.
Man, Malcolm can go kick rocks with his fucking with his Velveteen Dream hatred. Get tired of this shit. This was a very bog standard Royal Rumble. There's not much to say about it. It was very, very average. You could tell that they were running long because there was no way that there was 90 seconds between these entrants.
No, some of them entrances was like a minute.
Yeah, like it was
I'm
literally
hold up, wait a minute. That wasn't no 90 seconds.
Right.
Come on.
It was literally guy would come down to the ring, something would happen, next guy comes out. Like start the countdown right away.
I know the crowd is probably like, wait, what the fuck?
I know, like it happens.
What? Okay.
Couple notable eliminations. We had the weakest Kofi saves of all time. He did 2 saves tonight. They both sucked. The women did it way better. You had Mustafa Ali eliminating Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe looking like he wanted to legit murder Mustafa Ali. They've been feuding on SmackDown here lately. I was surprised Samoa Joe didn't just go back in the ring and beat the living fuck out of Mustafa Ali. I thought that shit was about to happen for sure. What else we got here? I'm just trying to think.
I feel like Samoa Joe fights in real life on the weekend, just in the street. Yo, that dude is terrifying.
That dude looks like the guy in the Yakuza games who beats you up and takes all your money.
Dude, Samoa Joe is awesome.
He is. He's been wrestling for like 25 years.
They tease the Titus O'Neil slip and fall again. That was actually funny. So Kurt Hawkins ran underneath the ring when he was out there. Titus came down. He runs to the ring and he like stopped short before he got to the ring. He's like, "All right, I made it." Then he looked down, saw Kurt Hawkins under the ring, thought he was making fun of him, and then like chased him under the ring. And then back in the ring where Kurt Hawkins promptly eliminated Titus O'Neil right afterwards. So little fun comedy bit there. Look, Pete Dunne looked really good for the time that he was in it. Mustafa Ali looked really good while he was in the match. Apparently Michael Cole mixed up Shelton Benjamin and Apollo Crews, which is a little racist. But yeah, that was pretty bad. So they got Braun Strowman out of the match by giving him a bit of a beat down. They got Seth Rollins out of the match by Lashley getting quickly eliminated and then him attacking Rollins outside of the ring and putting him through the announce table.
Yeah.
At number 30, R-Truth comes out. He was one of the winners of the Mixed Match Challenge. He got the number 30 spot in the Rumble. And then from behind, attacking him, none other than Nia Jax. Catching that heat from the crowd. And she decided to just take R-Truth's spot in the Rumble. So Nia Jax enters the men's Royal Rumble. All of the men, of course, are like, what the fuck is going on here? This is weird. She actually eliminates Mustafa Ali at one point because he didn't know what to fucking do. So she set up Randy Orton for a 619 against Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio went to go for it, and she tried to attack Mysterio and get him out of the ring. And then what proceeded to happen was a chain of finishing maneuvers. That was there just for crowd catharsis, like that, just so the crowd would lose. She gets super kicked by Dolph Ziggler into the 619 from Rey Mysterio, into the RKO from Randy Orton, and then she was unceremoniously dumped out by Rey Mysterio out of the match. And so,
yeah, I was like, okay, is this what y'all want to do?
Like, that's what they want to do. Apparently, they're dipping their toes into the intergender wrestling waters.
I mean, she's a
I'm
big
about
gal.
it. I'm about her in general.
I was just looking at it like, okay, these 3 dudes just beat the shit, like just hit her with their finishers, which is kind of cool because it took 3, to take her out. Which I'm like, all right, I get it, but like, okay, whatever.
I just like Nia Jax.
Sure, I like Nia Jax, and I feel like she could hold her own. We had some of the guys, and
she probably could. She probably could. Your final 2 were Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. They almost teased doing the Benoit Big Show finish, from a couple years back, where like Seth Rollins kind of like suplex dragged Braun Strowman out of the ring. What ended up happening is Seth Rollins would do his kick and then the stomp on Braun Strowman on the ring apron, and Braun Strowman fell off. So Seth Rollins is your Royal Rumble winner, and he is going to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He got 6 F5s for his trouble on Raw.
God damn. See, I didn't. Wow. Have they ever wrestled solo?
They have once, because if you recall, when Seth Rollins stole the title at WrestleMania when he won it originally, Brock Lesnar got suspended, but then they had the rematch when he came back at SummerSlam, which Seth Rollins, I think, escaped with a DQ finish, if I'm not mistaken.
No, okay.
So they have wrestled one-on-one, but that was when Rollins was a shitty heel. So it's gonna be a very different style of match at this point, I think, with those two. Should be good. Should be good. Seth Rollins, for my money, is the best men's wrestler in WWE right now. Daniel Bryan be damned. So I like Seth Rollins the most. So like I said, ultimately an average Rumble. I think the women undoubtedly stole the show. Aside from Lesnar Balor, all 3 of the women's matches by far were the best matches on the card in my estimation. I don't know what you guys thought.
I like the actually I enjoy the women's Rumble probably a little bit more.
I mean,
I like that Finn Balor Brock Lesnar match. That was good.
What I saw, because I went home and went to bed after the women's Rumble.
Yeah, it ended at 12 o'clock.
And I have to get up and go to work. I mean, I liked the Asuka Becky Lynch match. I thought the Rousey Banks match was compelling. And like the women's Rumble was a lot of fun. So, as I said earlier, like the reason why I'm getting into wrestling now is almost solely because of the fact that I find the women's end of things to be particularly compelling. So
I will have
doing their job.
Yeah, they are. Carrie, I will have to send you. I think it's actually on YouTube. The Bayley Sasha Banks NXT Women's Championship match.
Oh, okay.
From TakeOver Brooklyn a couple years ago.
That match is fucking awesome.
It's the best women's wrestling match I've ever seen. One of the best wrestling matches that I've ever seen. I shouldn't even qualify it as a women's match. We typically do letter grades on this show for these pay-per-view events. I suppose I'm the only one qualified to give it since I'm the only one that watched the whole thing. I would probably give this Rumble a solid B. My instinct is to go B-, but given the strength of all the women's matches and the Lesnar Finn Balor title match, I will go with a solid B for this Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Certainly not the worst, but not one that I'm going to end up remembering for a long period of time. But we're on the road to WrestleMania, so looking forward to that. That, of course, will be the next time that we give you guys the Pro Graps talk, so look forward to that in a couple of months. That's it for this episode. Thank you guys very much for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.